Why don't you do more pieces explaining the terrible things that women do in relationships and marriages?
You know, I always get a kick out of these because I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to tell you what I see, and hopefully you can learn from what I'm seeing.
I'm here to trigger you. That's what he's saying. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not here to be your pal. I'm here to actually help you.
My name is Riley, and I'm a 30-year-old double divorcee and single mom of 4 kids, and I am currently running this TikTok series about how I'm getting a tummy tuck and my ex-husbands are paying for it. And the comment section is just as wild as you'd expect it to be.
A man doesn't want to make his wife happy. In fact, he's super happy when she's miserable or upset.
They're going to keep doing the whole la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. They're going to keep doing that, right? Until they can't ignore it anymore. I hear this all the time. Because of the content that I make and the approach that I have to all of this stuff, right? But I hear this constantly from men. They always want me to talk about what women do wrong and, you know, how women are so messed up and blah, 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 right? But they really don't want to understand that when you're talking about relationships, men are just so diabolical. We operate on another level than women. You know, like I say this all the time, like women aren't perfect, but women aren't diabolical. And there's a difference, right? It's not enough to say that men aren't perfect. That falls short of what men actually are. It's not that men aren't perfect, it's that we are diabolical. It's not that, you know what I'm saying? It's not that we mess up sometimes. It's that we go out of our way to be abusive. You know what I mean? Like it's a completely different thing. So I hear these sentiments all the time, but I love how this man responds to it because it's pretty much how I feel.
Why don't you do more pieces explaining the terrible things that women do in relationships and marriages?
You know, I always get a kick out of these because I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to tell you what I see, and hopefully you can learn from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. So because the whole point of most of the videos that I do is all of the mistakes that I've watched people make in relationships and raising their kids and in custody battles and divorce cases, I want to tell you those mistakes I've seen. I want to explain why I believe they're problematic, and I want you to be able to rewind and correct them before they get you to the point where you're in that custody battle or that divorce or you're being separated from your kids or what have you.
You guys know that one lawyer with all the tattoos? I think his demographic are women, like women that are getting divorced, and that other dude's demographic are men that are getting divorced. And because this dude has women, I believe that he's more likely to tell the truth, which I've seen a good amount of his content, and I normally agree with what he's saying, like the vast majority of the time. But if you listen to what he was saying, he essentially was saying, when I see all of these problems, the vast majority of them I can attribute to men. That's all essentially. Like he didn't say men, right? But listen to how he started off. He started off the statement by saying he was answering a question about why he doesn't address women. And then he went on to say, I'm not here to coddle you, and he's talking to the men now. I know that's who he's talking to. He's like, yo, I'm not here to coddle you, man. This is what I say all the time. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm here to trigger you, believe it or not. And I don't mean that like in a rage baity way. I'm here to trigger you because I know the thing that I'm going to tell you. I know when I say it to you, you're not going to want to hear it. You're going to reject it and it's going to trigger you. I know it. So I'm here to trigger you. I wish we lived in a world where you guys just accepted it and were just like, oh, no. I hear exactly what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. But I know I got to trigger you first, right? Cool. So I'm here to trigger you. That's what he's saying. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not here to be your pal. I'm here to actually help you. I'm here to actually help you. And he's trying. He is. But if you listen to what he is saying, he's saying essentially though, these problems, most of them, if not all of them, go back to a man. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing him say.
People want to always feel like you might have hurt my feelings and tell me something I didn't want to hear. Well, tough. I'm telling you things you don't want to hear because that's what you do when you're trying to help people. You're honest with them. You're not there to stroke their ego.
Exactly. If I didn't want to help men, I would be like the rest of you men. I would be out here talking about how it's the woman's fault, how it goes both ways, how, she got to be submissive if you're providing. And I could be talking about rigid gender roles, and I could be talking about it's okay to take women on coffee dates. It's okay to walk in the park with a woman and not, you know what I mean? Like not spend no money and be selfish. Like I could do that. Yeah, I could do that, but I wouldn't be helping y'all. I would just be feeding into y'all psychosis. And I refuse to do that as a man because I would hate for a man to do that for me because I want to know the real. You know what I'm saying? But that with everything that man said, that's exactly that's how I feel, right? And the men be so mad at me and men like him, and I'm sitting there going like, are you guys not listening to like what's going on? Men don't like women, man. Men don't like when they see a woman resting. They're constantly trying to punish women. Look, peep this. Look, this is what I'm saying. I'll give you an example. So you guys have to understand before we watch this video that the men in her life that she's about to talk about, they've already done the bad things. That's why these men so they already fucked up. That's why they're no longer with her, right? Like she had to leave them both because both of the men fucked up. Cool. The men are cool though, right? Like after the fact, they're like cool. They're on good terms with one another. And so, this very interesting thing is happening with them, right?
My name is Riley, and I'm a 30-year-old double divorcee and single mom of 4 kids, and I am currently running this TikTok series about how I'm getting a tummy tuck and my ex-husbands are paying for it. And the comment section is just as wild as you'd expect it to be. And I think it's like cracking the code of why there's a male loneliness epidemic. The women are so excited that I have men that see the value in the fact that I grew and birthed and fed children for them, that they're willing to pay for a reconstructive surgery for me. And the men think that's the most asinine thing in the world. And truly, it is the least they could do to thank me for bringing children into the world for them. Granted, I did want the children too. I did. I wanted them and I love them dearly. But you cannot not acknowledge that there is a disparity in the amount of work that goes into bringing those children into the world. And then those children walk around with those men's names. Like the least they could do is pay for my surgery. And originally I had this idea that like I would take the cost of my tummy tuck surgery, split it in half, and then divide it by number of children I birthed per husband. But then I thought about the procedure. And they're going to slice me open, take a chunk of my skin out, pull the other 2 chunks of skin together, stitch it back up, and I'm going to be on bed rest for 4 to 6 weeks. That's 4 to 6 weeks out of work. That's 4 to 6 weeks I can't even get my heart rate up. That's 4 to 6 weeks of not lifting my children. And then I went, you know what? That's my half of the procedure. All that I have to put in, all the work of growing the children, all the damage on my body, all the damage on my body from feeding those children, and the fact that I had to be on blood thinners for the entire pregnancy. So like it was a huge health risk for me just in general. Literally the least these men could do was pitch in to have a reconstructive surgery. And the fact that there are men mad about it feels like the exact reason there's a male loneliness epidemic. And granted, it's coming from men on TikTok, and men on TikTok are just like icky to begin with, especially men that comment on other women's videos on TikTok. But I feel like I cracked the code right there. And then I didn't feel so bad that there's a male loneliness epidemic because you deserve it. Because what a weird take that the men I birthed children for shouldn't pitch in for that. Literally least they could do.
It's not just the men on TikTok, but what she is talking to, like the issue she's talking to, is how men don't value women and how they don't want to see, and since they don't value women, they don't want to see women happy. With or without them, the men don't want to see the women happy, right? That's what she's talking about. That issue, like if you think about it at its core, is more than likely the reason she's divorced from these 2 men right now, right? And it's the reason for most of the struggles in a relationship when it comes to men and women. You just don't want to see the woman happy. You don't want to see the woman happy. I really truly believe like it's really that simple. You don't care about her happiness, and more than that, you don't want to see her happy. I see it. I hear it. I see it all the time. Women talk about it all the time.
A man doesn't want to make his wife happy. In fact, he's super happy when she's miserable or upset. There's one thing I asked for years. It wasn't diamonds or an elaborate vacation or expensive purses. It was something so simple. I just wanted a little place to sit outside, a little patio, somewhere to go and have coffee in the morning, listen to the birds, sit outside in the evening. Just a small space for 2 chairs, nothing fancy. But that joy was never afforded me. In fact, any suggestion I came up with to make that a reality was immediately shot down. There's a science to why he does this to you, why he doesn't allow you to feel joy. And it's because if you do feel joy and you are happy, then misery in comparison feels intolerable. You have something to compare it to. And so you question, why would I want to stay here when I know what happiness feels like? And when you're happy, your self-esteem increases, which again makes you think, what am I doing here? But when you're miserable, your judgment is clouded. You're too busy just trying to survive. And that's why your happiness is a threat to him, because it threatens the whole foundation of control and the dynamic in the relationship. He needs to keep you where you are so that you don't leave or you don't really start asking for more. He doesn't have to give you more.
Are you starting to see how you know what I mean? Like the manipulation is crazy. And the lack of attentiveness, the lack of caring, just over and over and over again. And I see it. Like I'm saying, like I'm listening to the women. I'm like, yes, I've seen that in other people. I've done that before. Maybe I haven't done this, but just the issues in general that women talk about. I'm like, yes, I see it. That's why when I get on here and I talk to men about it, I'm like, bro, you think I'm like hating on you or something like that? You think I'm like, where do you think I'm getting this from? You think I'm just making all of this stuff up? But they know I'm not. They know I'm telling the truth. That's why they get so upset. Men do not care about a lie. Y'all don't care about a lie. Y'all care that I tell the truth. You care that there are men out here telling the truth. You don't care about a lie. Y'all lie to each other all the time. You lie to your woman all the time. You lie to your kids. You lie to your doctor. You lie all the time. You don't care about a lie. You care about the fucking truth. And that's sad, man. And then what's extra fucked up about all of this is in the end, the women are low-key trapped. I mean, outside of just leaving the relationship, I guess. But the women are low-key trapped because, yeah, he a piece of shit. And women are thinking like, he just needs the right words to get him on track. He needs some therapy, whatever. But if he's abusive, this may be the reality right here. This may be what it is.
Do not convince your man to go to therapy. If there is even a chance that you're in an abusive relationship, don't convince your man to go to therapy. I know that you love who he is when the mask is on during the reconciliation and calm phases of the relationship. And you just think if you can get to the root of why he acts like that, things will get better. And you want so bad for them to get better. But abusive men do not have a behavior problem. They have a mindset problem. They use therapy as a weapon. First, they can excuse all of their behaviors because they're working on it. And second, they develop very sophisticated ways for blaming their childhood, previous partners, and you for all of their behaviors. And couples therapy in a relationship that's abusive is outright dangerous. In fact, it's contraindicated in abusive relationships, but not all therapists are capable of recognizing the signs. You go to a couples therapy session and you feel validated because you have this third party that's like showing your abusive partner that they're being abusive.
How many of us have heard the men talk about, don't never go to couples therapy with your woman. Don't never go to couples therapy with your woman. Therapy favors the woman. No, it favors the person that isn't fucking an abuser. It favors the person. I mean, it favors both of y'all because you should want to become a better person. But in this case, it favors the person who is not the goddamn abuser. Right? Men say that shit I've never heard a woman talk about don't go to couples therapy. And I understand what this woman is saying. She's a professional. That's a different angle. I'm saying though, like for the people that are in a relationship that want to make it get better. I've never heard a woman be like, we don't go to therapy. They're gonna side with the man. Like, No, they're not worried about that. I do know women that don't want to go to therapy, though. Don't get me wrong.
And so your abusive partner will even back down a little bit, right? Outside of therapy, things will escalate. Because when they sense a loss of control in those couples therapy sessions, they will escalate in order to maintain control of you. So someone who may have just been emotional and psychologically abusive will escalate to physical violence in order to maintain control. Therapy is dangerous in an abusive relationship, except for you. And I know you don't want to hear it because I know that you don't want to have a professional tell you that it's abuse because you're not ready to leave, because you're not ready to let go, because you are trauma bonded. But you need someone to be there to support you for your mental health, and someone who can help you build a safety plan and an exit plan when you're ready. Therapy is not safe in an abusive relationship, except for you and your children.
Yeah, I think I just think that video was so powerful because I never knew that. I never thought about it from that perspective. But I do know that I hear a shit ton of abusive men get online and weaponize therapy talk. And I jokingly but seriously be like, the worst thing that they did was give y'all niggas therapy speak. They up here calling women narcissists. They up here talking about gaslighting. They up in here talking about what else they be saying? Man, they be just throwing out random shit, like just just random projection, like fuck out of here, bro. Y'all, yeah, man. That's the worst thing they could have did was gave you niggas therapy talk. That's the worst thing they could have done for y'all, man. But with all that being said, at the end of the day, it's the behaviors of men still. It's the behaviors of men, and men need to grow and men need to do better, but they don't want to. So they're going to keep on lying to themselves. They're going to keep on lying to the women, and they're going to keep doing they're going to keep doing the whole la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. They're going to keep doing that, right? Until they can't ignore it anymore. And I don't know when that's going to come, but that's the only time they're going to stop.